a very good afternoon. So today I am going to teach you the second story from your moments, that is The Adventures of Toto, written by Ruskin Bond. As I always do before getting inside a chapter, let us talk about first our author Ruskin Bond. Now Ruskin Bond is a name very much well associated with almost every children, every reader and every youth. He was born in the northern part of India in the year 1934. Right now he is 86 years old. He is an Indian writer of British origin. Now about his literary style, I would like to say that he has given a tremendous effort in upgrading children literature. Yes, he is an author for children and youth. Now in this story also, you will get to see about an animal. In this story also, at the end, you will get to see that he always focuses on conserving, loving, respecting the flora and fauna along with us. This story, The Adventures of Toto, is taken from his book known as Grandfather's Private Zoo. In this book, he relates to us about the behavior of different animals. There is a series of 9 stories well connected with each other in this book, Grandfather's Private Zoo. The story that we are going to read today, The Adventures of Toto, is the first story in the book, Grandfather's Private Zoo. Now, from the title itself, Grandfather's Private Zoo, you can well decipher that it is about co-inhabiting many animals together, building up a miniature private personal zoo at home. The first story, The Adventures of Toto. Who is Toto? Toto is a monkey. So let us read about the story, The Adventures of Toto by Ruskin Bond. Okay, so have you ever had a baby monkey as a pet? Toto is a baby monkey. Let's find out whether he is mischievous or he is docile. So you see, mischievous means naughty and docile means submissive. Now, grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. So from where did grandfather bring Toto? From a Tonga driver, by purchasing it with 5 rupees. Why? Let us see why. Because the Tonga driver used to keep the little monkey tied up just to a feeding bowl. Trough means a feeding tray. And the monkey looked so disarranged, so out of place, so unhappy, that grandfather decided that he will bring it to their house, to their private zoo. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, grandfather always believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, also served as a third hand. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that may be out of reach of his hands. So you see, Toto was a pretty monkey. Okay, his eyes were very bright and shining, and he had deep eyebrows. His teeth were most of the times displayed with a grin, with a smile, with a white smile, and his teeth were as white as pearls. And whenever he used to give that green, the Anglo-Indian ladies of the northern India were very, very frightened. The old Anglo-Indian ladies, the elderly, because you see Ruskin Bond was also an Anglo-Indian. So he was born and brought up in a society that was surrounded by Anglo-Indians. So he is telling that he used to frighten the old Anglo-Indian ladies in their society. But his hands looked dried up. His hands, his paws were all dried up. You see, I had told you one story while you people were in class 8 about monkey's paw. Though it is quite different an aspect, yet I would like to say that monkeys' paws are very dried up as though they had been pickled. Pickle is what we take, okay, what we call as achar. So how is pickle made? It is dried up in the heat, in the sun for many days, and then the pickle is made. So similarly, the paws of the monkey were as dry as pickle in the sun for many years, yet his fingers were quick and wicked. You see, he was very naughty. And his tail, while adding to his good looks. Grandfather always believed that every animal, he made this comment with humor, in a funny way, not in a very serious manner, as if every animal should have a tail. It increases the beauty of the animal. And for Toto, it was like an extra third hand, because what he used to do, look, underline, he used to hang from a branch. It was capable of scooping up any delicacy that may be out of reach of his hands. So he used to dangle from the branches of the tree with the help of his tail. At the same time, eat something with his hands. He was able to take out any delicacy. Delicacy means any palatable food, okay, with the help of his tail. Now, grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So, it was decided that Toto's present should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet underline opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. So you see, grandmother was not at all happy with gradual coming of animals into their house, because of grandfather's fascination for animals in making a personal zoo at home. So the presence of Toto was kept a secret from grandmother, and Toto was kept in a little drawer kind of a thing, a closet that opened from the wall, the bedroom wall, and there a peg was there where Toto was tied securely. Now, a few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found what a massacre had occurred. What happened? Let us see. Which had been covered with some ornamental paper. Ornamental paper refers to the wallpaper chosen by grandfather, now stood as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket. Wrenched means, you see, pulled out forcibly. And my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. Shreds means damaged. I wondered, what grandmother? So you see, Toto was so mischievous, so naughty, so restless, as all monkeys are. When after some hours they came inside, they found that the peg was uprooted and pulled out from the wall. The wallpaper was all gone and the plaster was exposed, and his school blazer was damaged and torn into, fragments, into pieces. I wondered what grandmother would say. But grandfather did not worry. He was very cool, calm and composed, and he was habituated to the nature and behavior of such animals. He seemed pleased, happy with Toto's performance. He is clever. So another humorous comment, a very light, funny comment that grandfather made. Given time, he is so intelligent. He could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his way of escape out of this window. Finally, his presence in the house was still a secret from the grandmother. Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters where other animals also lived, belonging to grandfather's zoo, sociably together. Please underline the animals: a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey would not allow any of his companions to sleep at night. He was always chattering and blabbering and making sound. He was not letting them sleep peacefully. He was so restless and naughty. And so what happened? Grandfather, who had to leave to Dehradun next day, why he had to go to Saharanpur, underline, to collect his pension. So he decided to take Toto along with him. Though author did not go, yet he came to know the story of that day's journey from his grandfather. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. Thus, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode. Abode means a dwelling place. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air. So what happened? A big black canvas bag, sleeping dwelling bag, was brought for Toto, which he could not tear and which he could not open from inside. All he could do was the display of his actual nature. He could jump and he could, play. So whenever he did that inside the bag rolled and, just popped up in the air, all by itself. And that is what happened throughout the journey. Even in the whole Dehradun station, people were fascinated and curious to know what was inside the bag. So you see, an exhibition that attracted curious crowd, alliteration, curious crowd of onlookers on the Dehradun railway platform. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, as you can see, it is a mechanical gate consisting of revolving horizontal arms fixed to a virtual position, allowing only one person to pass. We can see this in Kolkata metro station. Okay, so anyways, I'll show you a picture of the turnstile. Okay, here is, you can see a turnstile. So Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. Grin means a smile broadly. Suddenly somehow he was managed to put his head up and he smiled broadly. The poor man was taken aback in the beginning. With the great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that monkey did not qualify as a dog or even as a quadruped. Quadruped means animals with 4 feet. In vain means without any success. Toto was classified as a dog by the ticket collector, and 3 rupees was the sum handed over as his fare. So you see, grandfather tried a lot to make the ticket checker understand and convince that it was just a monkey and not a dog. But the ticket checker was so shut down, so ignorant, even to have a look properly at the animal, whether it was a dog or a monkey or some other thing. He did not even try to understand that it was not a dog. He was convinced, he was accustomed to seeing dogs, and he was convinced with the fact that it was a dog. Probably he did not want to understand in order to charge a fee. You never know. So finally he made a tag of the monkey as a dog and took 3 rupees. Then grandfather became cynical and irate to a little extent and told that just to get my own back, took out the pocket pet tortoise and said, "What must I pay for this, since you charge for all the animals?" So he became cynical and satirical. "Look, I also have another animal." The ticket collector looked closely at the tortoise, produced it with his forefinger, gave grandfather a pleased means happy and triumphant means victorious look, said, "No charge, it is not a dog." Now, when Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable where he had for a companion the family donkey Nana. So when Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a home in the stable where he had to co-inhabit with the family donkey Nana. Now on Toto's first night, as the grandfather knew the nature of Toto in the stable, he went to the stable to pay a visit to see Nana. He found Nana without any visible cause pulling at her halter. Halter is the rope placed around the head of a horse or a donkey, for leading or tethering it, and trying to keep her head as far as possible from a bundle of hay. Grandfather gave Nana a tight slap across her haunches. Haunches means buttock and thigh. And she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. So that was the reason. Toto was in that bundle of hay and he had fastened onto her long ears with sharp little teeth. And as Nana moved, he was biting his ears. Toto and Nana never became friends. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evenings was a large bowl of warm water given him by grandmother for his bath. He would cunningly, that is intelligently, test the temperature of the water just like any human toddler or a child. He used to put his first one foot, then the other foot, then ascertain the temperature of the water and then put his whole body inside it. Once comfortable, he would take the soap in his hands and take a good nice warm bath just like any human being. When the water became cold, he used to get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to warm himself up. And if anybody laughed at this incident, at this performance, Toto was very hurt and he would refuse to take on the bath. One day Toto nearly boiled himself. Let us see what happened. A large kitchen kettle was placed on a large coal stove. It is not the gas that was used during those times. Had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with no other work to do, went to the kitchen, removed the lid. Finding the water just warm and enjoyable for a good bath, he got inside it with his head sticking out from the open kettle. This was just fine for a moment, but the water was about to boil. It was being heated up until the water began to boil. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding the atmosphere cold outside, he again sat down. Again he raised. He continued hopping up and down for some time until grandmother reached the spot at a proper time and took him out. Grandmother arrived and hauled him. Hauled means pull and drag him half boiled out of the kettle. If there is a part of the brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was very developed in Toto's brain. If there is a part in the brain that is for, creating mischief, Toto was advanced, very much advanced in that aspect. He was always doing something or other, some kind of mischievous things. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of my aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. One more incident. One day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. Toto was tempted, he went there. He entered the room to find the stuffing himself with rice, and he took and put it. He started gobbling the rice, the pulao. My grandmother came just in moment and shouted. Toto, out of anger, threw a plate at her. Then one of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. So Toto threw a glass of water to the other person, to his aunt. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window on the branches of a jackfruit tree. There he was, finally armed. Nobody can come up and snatch the plate. So finally he sat there, the dish in his arms, remained there all afternoon eating all the rice. And he finished every grain. And then in order to spite means to, irritate, make somebody angry, grandmother, he screamed at him. He threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with enjoyment and delight when it broke into 100 of pieces. Obviously, Toto was not the sort of pet we would keep for long, because you see, keeping an animal and taking care of it in proper way, just like a baby, just like a human being, giving it all the respect, love and care. So you see, it is very expensive, and grandfather realized that they were not well to do, they were not economically sound to maintain so many animals together, and moreover, Toto was such a mischievous, naughty, animal who created such problems and who destroyed many things and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes and cloths and curtains and wallpaper. So finally what happened? Grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. So Toto went back to its usual owner, to its former owner. So you see in the story also, in all of his stories for children, what our author always intends to say is that nature and its allied species should be saved, loved and conserved, and the duty begins and starts with children and youth, because they are our future. We have to teach them accordingly. Children learn through examples and not through advices. So we should inculcate in respecting and caring every creature on this earth, and that should begin with making the children and the youth learn about it. This is a very simple story written in a very lucid language you will be able to understand. So I hope you people have understood. Thank you so much. If you have any problem, contact me in my WhatsApp number. Bye bye students.